Hello, Anita.
Okay, the stream started. So, Mr. Chairman, at your pleasure, you can call the meeting to order.
Call the meeting to order. Anita?
Okay, I'd like to read the notice of public notification. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the provisions of the Senator Byron M. Bear Open Public Meetings Act by notice published in both the Asbury Park Press and the New York Star Ledger and filed with the Lakewood Township Municipal Clerk. I'd like to take a roll call for attendance. Mr. Calabro? Mr. Flansbaum?
Here.
Mr. Halverson?
Here.
Mr. Katz? Mr. Schuster?
Here.
Oh, Mr. Schuster, you're there? Yes.
There's Eddie.
There you are. Hi. Good. I can make a check mark. Mr. Stafford Smith.
Here.
Mr. Kirschner.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
All right, can we do the flag salute before we
Yes.
forget it? All right. Would like to do Justin? All you have to say is aye.
I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the flag
to the United
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Take a minute of break.
Roll call, Anita. Oh, sorry.
Everybody,
Okay, minutes.
For all of our
Minutes.
Hello, Greg.
Hey, Mikey.
Where's Tom?
Thank you, Anita.
I just texted him.
Yeah, we did the roll call. We have a quorum.
Yeah. So now to the minutes, please.
We're at the minutes.
Minutes were sent to you, I believe, early in the week, and also last night with the distribution of the meeting documentation.
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second the motion.
second.
That's an all in favor.
Aye. This is the June 9th minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that
All
was
in
approved.
favor? Get that? All in favor of the minutes for June 9th?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, motion carries. Go on to, Peter with finance.
The statement of accounts was presented to you. It is still considered a draft, although we're getting closer to having everything start to connect so that we can give you perfect numbers. We're receiving payments as scheduled, and we've received a land lease. Did I forget the land lease payment? We've received the payments and everything like that. Okay, and we received the land lease payment in June, and a lot of stuff. The reason why it's still staying as a draft because we're trying to get the hang of the credit card processing, the automatic clearinghouse processing. What in the world is
Well,
this?
we're trying to move as much as possible to the automated clearinghouse, so that way, first of all, it's automated, so it's more efficient. It's also better for record keeping and easier for the auditors to track everything. So more and more of our payments are being shifted to that. Otherwise, as Anita said, pretty much everything in there is the standard that we're used to seeing. There is, of course, you're going to see a lot more activity on the airports line just because this is the high season. There's a lot of activity going in and out with fuel and other fees that are coming in. And there'll be some more money coming in there soon through an additional grant. I guess the latest tranche of the CARES grant, related to the pandemic, which has actually provided like another 30 grand for the airport. So on this, we just need a motion to accept, and it's in
I move to accept the bill list and the statement of accounts.
let's do it separately. Let's just do statement of accounts first, and then bill list, we'll do a roll call.
All right. Motion to approve the statement of accounts or accept it.
Second.
Second by Ed.
Okay, and then that will be
All in favor?
Aye.
The bill list,
okay. The bill list reflects our standard statutory expenses. Brinks Home is the new name for the alarm services for the T hangers that used to be select services. So they're now known as Brinks Home. That's where you're seeing that. New Jersey Gravel, you see invoices for them. That is for construction materials for the park ride, which expenditures were approved at our last meeting.
yeah, so you'll see more of those bills coming through. Obviously, that's not nearly the full ride of those bills. It's just that we're receiving the invoices as they come in, and they come in for like every truckload or two. So there's quite a bit more to come with that.
All right, and the Strand apartments we have is basically, you see that they are services, pest control services, gas for the furnaces, for the boilers. The Star Ledger and Asbury Park Press was the legal advertisement for the property management RFP. We have to
Which we have a
legally
resolution later for award.
right. And
Other than that, it's repairs. You will see a lot more going out. You'll see on the resolution, but also with the enormous storms that we've had. Not to jump into the Strand report per se, you should anticipate you're going to see more expenses here because we've been doing patches again on the roof. If you drive by downtown, you'll actually see a tarp over the roof now because some of these leaks are getting extensive. So we're looking into a few options on how to address the roof. We do have more than sufficient capital reserves to cover the cost of a roof, but we are looking at some alternatives for where we can get some leverage on that, and we'll be reporting on that in the next meeting.
okay. And the Lakewood Airport bill list.
The airport, I just want to point out in the airport on the trademark data and security, that's a collection of invoices related to still going back to when we took down the old terminal and replaced it with the new one. So there's a lot of security cameras and so on that had to go back up, and some additional wiring and other services that had to happen in there. So that's all included there. Everything else is just what it looks like, fuel and the management service from me. Any questions?
I'll move to pay the bills if they're found to be correct.
I'll second.
Okay, on roll call. Mr. Flansbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Halverson,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Stafford Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner.
We're doing the bill list, correct?
Yes.
I don't have a copy of that, but
You would normally abstain from item number 4048.
yeah, I don't have that number. 4048. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
we'll accept that item.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. I'm up.
Yeah.
Thank you. So just a couple of quick items. I have a few things in closed session, but I do want to alert the board to a few things. One is the park and ride. I was hoping at this point that we'd be nearer completion. We're pretty close to completion. If you have a chance to drive by, they probably got one layer left to do of some of that gravel and whatever the use for the surface. So that's almost ready to go. At the same time, we don't really want to make that open and in use until we have a governing ordinance in place, and I'm working with a number of the committee members to get that form of ordinance approved. Our attorney provided a template for us to work off of, and we're making those modifications. So I certainly hope by the time the next township committee meeting comes around, we'll hopefully have something for them to do a first reading on.
That's tomorrow, Steve.
Yeah. So I mean the next one after this, because this one is not happening. Michael, we can't get anything on the agenda the day before, and it's not ready anyway. It's going to take a few more days.
You said it.
So that's the park and ride. I want to tell you that we've received notice that the JBiz Expo, which last year was held at the Blue Claws Stadium, is going to be doing it again. I think they have some dates in late October or early November that they have reserved at the Blue Claws Stadium to do it again. And we did receive preliminary notice that they're going to ask us to sponsor it. It was a pretty well-attended event. We had people from, certainly we had government representatives from local, state, and even the federal government that were here. And we had people certainly came from several surrounding states to participate in the session. And it was a pretty good success. So we'll probably bring that back to you either in the August or September meetings for authorization on that sponsorship. And last, while we usually suspend the August meetings, we always keep it on the calendar just in case. So we do have our August meeting on the calendar, and for right now, there's a possibility that we will still hold a meeting because I was hoping that sometime either just before this meeting or just after, we may actually have a form of contract on that public-private partnership to present to the board. I will hopefully receive that soon, and then we can hold the subcommittee meeting, the contract subcommittee, to review it, then bring a recommendation to the board, hopefully in August, but failing that, probably almost certainly by September. At the same time, working with the Township Committee, if you look on the Township Committee agenda, there's some property transfers from the Township to the Industrial Commission, and that is one or two, maybe three lots in the section that is just east of the Parkway, the 17 acres that we call it. It's probably more like 16 acres. Township is transferring those to us for consolidation, and we're working on a contract with a commercial buyer where a portion of that land ultimately is going to be designated for donation by the town to Family Food Relief, which is a food pantry that serves, unfortunately, thousands of people in Lakewood. And they do an amazing work, and we've had a couple of misses in the last few years where there's attempts to find them a home, and it hasn't worked. And so this is kind of going to work for everybody, so that the township will be able to donate that land to them, and we'll be able to get that land put into use as a really good commercial and industrial rateable. So hopefully that all will come through in the coming week or two, and then we can have it on for the meeting in August, or if it's more urgent, we may call a special meeting. But for right now, that's what I would anticipate. The rest of what I have in there. Any questions? No questions. Okay. Moving on. Our attorney.
Just closed session items, Steve.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Anita, was there any correspondence? You're on mute. Okay, now you're on mute. Go ahead.
No, I have no correspondence of record that's on file.
Okay, very good. Jumping to committee reports. Justin, subcommittee met on SP 2364, responding to the gymnasium that was being put up there at the end of Summer Avenue. Was there?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we met, and as indicated on the agenda, there was no objection to accepting the 75-foot setback, 75-foot setback from Summer Avenue.
Right. I think it was like a supplemental submission or something, right? I mean, it had already been approved by the planning board, This was coming back for something? Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah, this was coming back to the industrial commission based, I think, on an existing condition, so, and the site review committee had no objection.
Okay. And there's quite a lot of work going on there. I mean, just in that section, when we talk about industrial parks, we talk so much about the main industrial park campus, from New Hampshire to the Brick Line and, from on the North 88 down to Route 70. But the other part of our industrial campus is that section along Prospect. And while that area has been changing a lot, there's still a fair amount of industrial activity up there. And good news there for those people who travel those roads is that the county is coming through and doing some improvements there. I think not so much widening as restriping Prospect Street to accommodate the center turning lane, which I think is going to really have an enormous impact on traffic flow. So that'll be good for everybody, for the trucks, for the private vehicles, and so on. Okay. I don't see anything else in any of the subcommittees. Marketing and public relations. Is Mrs. Kirshner nearby?
Yes. The Strand Theater is going through great pains and effort to reopen. They've been having shows called Countdown to Crushing COVID. There's another one July 23rd. Linda Axelrod is the Joan Rivers impersonator. It starts at 8 o'clock. If you're interested, and I hope you are, call the box office for tickets. I wrote several drafts and published an article for the Lakewood Chamber on June 29th about New Jersey paid family and medical leave during COVID-19, what employers should know. June 26th to 29th, the Strand Theater is holding shows August 6th, August 21st, and September 4th. That's going to be in the main theater. So Bob and I go to the airport every day. The other day we were there. Every table was occupied. Planes were taking off and landing. There was all kinds of excitement, families, kids. Putting those tables in was a wonderful thing. The Blue Claws are not doing as well as they anticipated. The attendance is still fairly low, but they're trying very hard to make a comeback. I always attend with Steve Ryman the meeting of the MODC, Monmouth Ocean Development Council, Economic Development, and report on Lakewood and all the fabulous things that are happening in this town. And you know they are. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Thanks,
Okay, you're welcome. Here's Mr. Kirshner.
Thank you.
Steve?
Yes, sir.
All right. Going back to Yeshiva Taurus, Aaron, the gymnasium, the setback, Sumner Avenue, the other street when it goes to the west.
Lewin.
Lewin?
What is it? Yeah, Lewin. Are they going to be both blacktopped and finished?
Well, they both are. I don't know about Lewin all the way through, but Summer is. Summer is. It's a heavily trafficked road right now. Just all these things, hit a T down by the railroad tracks.
And what about Lewin?
So Lewin, I think it comes to a certain point, but then the topography is really challenging there. I think there's like a mountain of cliff that it drops when it goes down towards the track. But
have you seen it physically? Have you been there?
Not on Lewin, but I've been on Summer.
All right, Summer I've been on, and Lewin, I think we should hold them to finish both those streets.
So that's a planning board decision, but I will tell you that there's quite a bit of activity in looking at overall improvements, not only what the county is doing on Prospect, but things that they can do with some of those streets to create interconnection. So it's premature to get into detail, but there's a lot of planning and design and engineering going on around that entire area. So we'll probably be hearing a lot more about it soon.
Yeah, I think we should have some input in there anyway.
Well, we
should
do.
have-
We do. They come to us with the plans, so we get to do that.
They haven't done that yet, right?
Only when there's specific,
We haven't seen a
you know,
finished
when the
version.
proposals come forward, they'll come to us. Yeah, we haven't seen that yet. Okay, so on resolutions, the first one is, you'll remember we did an temporary extension to our management contract with Aggressive, who've been great. I mean, they not only know the building, but they're, if I dare say, they're like emotionally involved with it. So that there's, no, they really care about it, and it's really good. They're wonderful with the tenants. They're great when we need anything on the theater side, and they're really very professional. And they're not terribly expensive. They don't gouge us on things. So they've been, and they did. I think they were the only respondent to the RFP. So and the proposal that we have before us is very reasonable, and we're looking to do again a 2-year contract with them, and I'm happy to have it out there. So if somebody would offer that and we can get a second, that would be good.
I'd like to make a motion that we take advantage of this opportunity with Aggressive and continue our relationship.
So that's offering 210701. Can we get a second? Eddie Schuster's got his hand up. Okay.
Okay, on roll call,
that,
please.
Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Flansbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Halverson.
Yes.
Is Mr. Katz here? Or is that Mr. Keene? No, Mr. Keene is here. Is
No.
Mr. Katz here?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Mr.
He just said
Yeah,
yes.
hi, how are you?
That counts as a
Yes.
vote.
Thank you. Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Stafford Smith,
Yeah.
Mr. Kirschner.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay. The second one, the resolution 210702 is when the new board of Strand Ventures took over, they did a top to bottom review of the status of certain things, and we identified that some safety reviews had not been conducted within the timelines that we expected them to be. And so we had to come in, do an assessment of the rigging and protection equipment, all the stuff that goes on around the theater. It's actually part and parcel of the building itself, if you will. And so it's like Phantom of the Opera, but in a good way. So they came back with a proposal of all the things that need to be done. And there's only a few companies regionally that can do this. We got a quote from one in Pennsylvania, which was really, really expensive. And then the one that's proposed here is actually from a company here down in Bayville. Bayville, are they, Greg? Somewhere,
Yes, they are.
Bayville or Beechwood. And those people actually have experience with this theater. One of them actually used to work at Strand Theater many years ago. And so they're intimately familiar with it. They're local. And that, I think, is the preferred vendor for the services. There again, we need somebody to offer the.
I don't have the resolution number on this, but I'd like to make the motion that we accept and go forward with RDG rigging to make those repairs.
I'll second.
RDM. Yeah.
Okay, on roll call.
Just so everybody knows, if you have it somewhere in there, the sum is $21,951, and again, that's coming out of the dedicated funds that came along with the building. Okay, Anita, go ahead.
Okay, on roll call. Mr. Flansbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Halverson,
Yes.
Mr. Katz,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Stafford Smith,
Yes.
and Mr. Kirschner.
yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we would need a motion to go into closed session to deal with some contracts and other items.
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
All right, I'd like to read the resolution into the minutes. Whereas Section 7B of the Senator Byron M. Bear Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting under circumstances, and whereas the Industrial Commission of the Township of Lakewood is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Industrial Commission of the Township of Lakewood in the County of Ocean as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of said private and confidential matters involving any of the 9 exclusions as set forth in Section 7B of said law and after hereinafter specified. General nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: contract negotiations and litigation. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter will be made public only when the reasons for discussing and acting on them in closed session no longer exists. Said determination to be made by further resolution adopted by the Industrial Commission. This resolution shall take effect immediately. The time now is 12:01 p.m.
Okay, hang on one second. I'm going to send the notice to start the breakout session, so you'll get a pop-up on your screen to make the come over, and I'm going to stop the stream.
Just to let you know.
Thank you all. Mr. Chairman? Bob? I don't know. Okay, Bob, any comments from the chair? Hold on a second. You're muted for some reason. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I hear you.
Okay, I just want to mention that Fran and I usually have a daily trip to the airport, and it is really busy there. She had mentioned at the tables, there were, in one afternoon, twice, 22 people sitting at the tables.
Wow.
Students, adults.
Yeah.
And the nice weather. And one day we were there, and there was a helicopter, a small one, giving kids rides, 2 or 3 at a time.
Yep.
For hop up and back. They were really enjoying that. So it's really a focal point of local activities. So,
very good.
to tell everybody, it's really looking good.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners?
No.
All right. Can we get a motion to adjourn then?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Be
Hi, everybody.
Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks.
You too.